Hello everyone. Today I shall do recapitulation of the chapter Air. So let's start. The Earth is surrounded by a thick layer of atmosphere which contains all the life-giving gases that different organisms require to survive. Air is the invisible gaseous substance surrounding us. The blanket of air that surrounds the Earth is called the atmosphere. It is made up of many gases and it is very important for the existence of life on the earth. Living beings cannot survive without atmosphere as it provides us with the air we breathe and protects us from the harmful rays of the sun. There are some gases that reflects the harmful rays back into space and protect the earth. An integrate balance is maintained by the atmosphere, which controls and modifies the heat and cold on Earth to make conditions livable. Now, next, let us move to the composition of the atmosphere. Air is a mixture of varying amounts of gases. Nitrogen and oxygen are the two main gases that make up the bulk of the atmosphere. The other gases found in lesser percentage are carbon dioxide, argon, helium, ozone and hydrogen. Nitrogen is the most abundant and makes up around 78% of the total atmosphere. Plants need nitrogen for their survival, but they cannot take it directly from the air. Bacteria that live in the soil and roots of some plants take nitrogen from the air and change its form so that plants can use it. Oxygen is also essential for humans and animals who breathe oxygen produced by green plants during photosynthesis. The carbon dioxide we breathe out is absorbed by green plants, which in turn gives us oxygen. Next, carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is another important gas as it traps the Earth's heat. This is known as greenhouse effect, which keeps the Earth warm to a comfortable level. Receiving more heat from burning of fuels like coal and oil, waste matter, exhaust fumes from automobiles increases the carbon dioxide level and also raises temperature, causing a severe imbalance. This is known as global warming. This extraordinary heating is melting ice caps, receding glaciers and raising the sea level with disastrous consequences. Apart from these gases, tiny dust particles are additionally present in air. So, air circulation. What is air circulation? Air circulation heated when air is heated, expands and becomes lighter and goes up. And the cold air, which is dense and heavy, sinks down, and when hot air rises, cold air from surrounding areas fill in the gap. Now, let us see the structure of the atmosphere. So, atmosphere has a layered structure starting From the Earth's surface, atmosphere is divided into 5 major layers. These are as follows. The first one is troposphere. Troposphere is the primary or the lowest layer that starts from the surface of the Earth and extends up to 13 km in height. All weather changes such as cloud formations, rain, snow, hailstorm, etc. takes place in this particular layer. Next is stratosphere. Is the second layer above the troposphere that starts from where troposphere ends and extends up to 50 km from Earth's surface. Aeroplanes fly in this zone as it is devoid of clouds and weather disturbance. The presence of ozone layer within the stratosphere is extremely useful as it protects the earth from harmful ultraviolet rays of the sun. Next is mesosphere. So, mesosphere is the third layer extending up to 80 km. The importance of this layer is that it burns the meteoroids entering the atmosphere from space. Next is thermosphere. The thermosphere extends between 80 to 400 km. Ionosphere is a part of this layer. This layer helps in radio transmissions by reflecting the radio waves back to Earth, thus facilitating wireless communication. Next is exosphere. It is the uppermost layer of the atmosphere. It starts up after thermosphere and extends till space. The air here is extremely thin and only light gases like helium and hydrogen float into the space from here. Okay, so these are the 5 layers of atmosphere. So the first one is troposphere, the next is stratosphere, and the third is mesosphere, the fourth is thermosphere, and the fifth is exosphere. Okay, now let us see what is weather and climate. So, what is weather? Weather is the hour to hour, day to day conditions of the atmosphere. It changes dramatically from day to day. Weather may be hot, humid, pleasant, or breezy. The first two weather conditions might make us irritable and make it impossible to go for an outing with friends. But the third and fourth, that is pleasant and breezy, weather conditions are welcome and acceptable by all. We get to hear that weather report across the world on news channels. Weather forecast is also important for us to plan our day. It is especially important for fishermen who are warned not to venture out into the sea due to high tide forecast, and for cricket fans and players speculating the outcome of a one-day match, etc. Next, what is climate? So, climate is the average weather condition of a place for a longer period of time is called the climate of the place. The weather pattern of more than 20 years is considered for defining the climate of a place. Next, let us see what is temperature. So, temperature can be defined as or the degree of hotness and coldness of the air is known as temperature. Temperature is very important factor in determining the weather because it influences other elements of the weather. Temperature may be affected by sunshine, latitude, and altitude. Sunshine. The amount of sunshine at a certain place can influence its temperature. The amount of sunshine can be measured in sunshine hours. That is worked out by the number of hours of daylight and how many of these are cloud free. Sunshine is variable due to daylight hours, as during the night there is no sunshine as the earth is pointing away from the sun at the given spot. Next is latitude. Latitude is the distance of a location from the equator. The hottest temperature on earth are found near the equator. This is because the sun shines directly on it for more hours during the year than anywhere else. As you move further away from the equator towards the poles, less sun is received during the year and the temperature becomes colder. Altitude. Altitude is the highest or is the height above the sea level. The higher you are, the lower the temperature will be. This is because air that is higher up is less denser than it is at the lower altitudes, and air temperature depends on its density. So, we know that the temperature of the atmosphere changes not only between day and night but also from season to season. Summers are hotter than winters. And an important factor that influences the distribution of temperature is insolation. So, what is insolation? Insolation is the incoming solar energy intercepted by the earth. Insolation is the solar radiation received in Earth's atmosphere or at its surface. Only approximately 52% of this insolation reaches the Earth's surface. The rest is absorbed by water vapor, dust, clouds, or is reflected by the Earth's surface and scattered by the particles in the air. The amount of insolation decreases from the equator towards the pole. Therefore, the temperature decreases in the same manner. So, the temperature in cities is much higher than that of village. Now, let us study about the weather instruments. So, here in the picture, we can see the pictures of weather instruments. So, the thermometer measures the temperature. So, here we can see the picture of a thermometer. So, it measures the temperature. Next, we can see the picture of a barometer. So, barometer measures atmospheric pressure. Next, rain gauge. It measures the amount of rainfall. Next, we can see a picture of a wind vane. So, wind vane shows the direction of the wind. So, these are the weather instruments. Okay, now let us move to air pressure. So, what is air pressure? Air pressure is defined as the pressure exerted by the weight of air On the Earth's surface, air is made up of number of mixed gases and has weight. It therefore exerts a pressure on the Earth's surface which varies from place to place and from time to time. We know that on the moon there is no air and therefore no air pressure. The reason is that the moon is too small compared to the Earth. The moon is 1/4 of the size compared to the Earth, and this reduces the amount of gravity on the moon. Strong gravity is needed to hold on atmosphere into place. So there is no air in the moon because of weak gravity. Next, we know that the air pressure is highest at the sea level and decreases with height. Horizontally, the distribution of air pressure is influenced by the temperature of air at a given place. So, next, let us see what is low pressure area. Low pressure area is created in areas where temperature is high due to the rising of heated air. A low pressure area is a region where the atmospheric pressure is lower than the surrounding areas. A low pressure system develops when warm air rises from the Earth's surface and the air in the surrounding area rushes in to fill the empty space, thus forming a heavy inflow of wind. The low pressure area is associated with cloudy sky and wet weather. Now, let us see what is high pressure area. A high pressure area is a region where the atmosphere or the atmospheric pressure at the surface is greater than its surrounding areas. Winds within the high pressure area flow in a clockwise direction indicative of good weather condition. Areas of high pressure are usually associated with clear and sunny skies. And the tropical areas are well known for frequent formations of low pressure and high pressure area. So, you see the areas of high and low pressure are caused by ascending and descending air. As warm air ascends means as it goes upward, it leads to the low pressure at the surface. And as the air cools, it descends. That means it slopes downwards, leading to high pressure at the surface. So, where the area is low, the air is cool and it is therefore heavy. So, heavy air sinks down and creates a high pressure area. So, this is what the low pressure area and the high pressure area. So low pressure area is associated with the cloudy skies and the wet weather, whereas the high pressure areas are associated with clear and sunny skies. Now let us move to the wind. So what is wind? So wind, it is the movement of air from high pressure area to low pressure area, or the movement of air from the high pressure area to low pressure areas is called wind. A wind is named after the direction from which it blows. For example, the wind blowing from the west is called easterly. Sorry, yes, the wind blowing from the east is called easterly, or the wind blowing from the west is called westerly. So, the winds are classified under three types. So, we can see here the types of wind: permanent wind, seasonal wind, and the local winds. So, what is permanent wind? The permanent winds are that blow throughout the year in a fixed direction between high pressure and the low pressure belts. Example of permanent winds are trades wind, westerlies, and polars in both the hemisphere. And next is seasonal wind. So seasonal winds are winds that change direction in different seasons and blow in specific areas. Example, the monsoon winds in India. Next is local wind. Local winds are localized and blow only during a certain time of the day or in a limited period of the year. For example, land and sea breeze in coastal areas and loo in the hot season in the northern plains of India are the examples of local winds. So, these are the types of wind. So, the permanent wind, next is seasonal wind, and the third is local wind. So, the examples of the permanent winds are like trade winds, uh, polar winds, westerly winds, and the example of the seasonal winds are like the monsoon winds, and the examples of the local winds are sea and land breeze. So these are some examples. Okay, now let us move to the another topic. So let us see what is moisture. So moisture is the amount of water that is present in the air mass, and it is the tiny droplets of water that present in the air or on the surface or in the ground. We know that water evaporates from the sea, lake, land, etc., and becomes water vapor. And as it rises, water vapor starts cooling and condenses and forming water droplets. And the masses of water droplets form clouds, which come down as a precipitations when they become too heavy. So, rain, snow, sleet, and hail are various forms of precipitation. And precipitation that comes down to the earth in liquid form is called rain. So, rainfall, there are three types of rainfall. Number one is cyclonic or frontal rainfall. So let us see what is cyclonic or frontal rainfall. So when the two air mass of different temperature, that is warm and cold air mass, meet to eventually cause the rainfall. So frontal or the cyclonic rainfall occurs when warm air is forced over cold air. The moisture in the warm air condenses as it cools, which causes clouds and rain. So basically it is due to the convergence or the meeting of two different air masses with different temperature and other physical properties. As cold air is denser, it tends to remain close to the ground, The warm air is lighter and tends to rise above the cold air. In ascent, that means in the instant of rising, pressure decreases and the air expands and cools, and condensation takes place, and the light showers are called cyclonic or frontal rainfall. So this is what is called as cyclonic rainfall. So when the two air mass of different temperature, that is warm air and cold air mass, meet to eventually cause the rainfall. So this is what we call cyclonic or the frontal rainfall. Now let us see the second type of rainfall is the relief rainfall. So let us see what is relief rainfall. Relief rainfall is also called as orographic rainfall. So the relief rainfall occurs when air has been blown over the sea and is then forced up over an area of highland. This causes air to cool and the moist in the air condenses and rainfalls occurs. So relief rain is formed when air is forced to cool when it rises over relief features in the landscape such as hills or mountains. As it rises, it cools, condenses and forms rain. So relief rain is formed when air is forced to cool when it rises over relief features in the landscape such as hills or mountains. So this is called relief rainfall. So now let us move to the third types of rainfall, that is convectional rainfall. So what is convectional rainfall? So convectional rainfall occurs when the energy of the sun heats the earth's surface and causes water to evaporate. That means turning from liquid into vapor. So it occurs when the energy of the sun heats the earth's surface and causes the water to evaporate, changing to water vapor. This warm, moist air then rises, and as it rises, it cools. It cools, and this process of condensations high in the atmosphere leads to the development of clouds. It mostly occurs in tropics and where it is hot. When air is hot, it rises and cools and condenses and thus forming rain. If the air is hot enough, it rises very quickly and can cause thunderstorms. So, when the land warms up, it heats the air above it. This causes the air to expand and rise, and as the air rises, it cools and condenses. If this process continuously or continues repeatedly, then rain will fall. So, this is convectional rainfall. So, here we have studied about the three types of rainfall, that is number 1 cyclonic rainfall, number 2 relief rainfall, and number 3 convectional rainfall. So students, I think it is quite clear to you all the three types of rainfall. That is the first one is cyclonic rainfall. Second is the relief rainfall, and the third is the convectional rainfall. So here I conclude, thank you and have a nice day.